can't see what? What can't you see?
Ooh, next time next film in front of the bookshelf, smart.
That's a great idea.
I know, right? Oh, like so classy.
No fucking classes.
It wouldn't matter if you did background blur, though. I figured out nowadays, and now everyone's doing
Why
it.
is this echoing?
You were such a trendsetter.
No.
What else are you doing?
I always blur. See how I live.
Well,
I
am shaking my head, so if you want to follow suit.
You know what? That is a trend that is happening right now. People are shaving their heads. It's a thing. So I might just do that.
Here's the thing is,
Oh, there we go.
Dan, I did that before you though, man. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but you never
it's
were
working.
publicly announcing it. I was going around saying I'm gonna shave my head, posted it everywhere, and everyone's like, I'm gonna do that too. He's just in a laundry cart.
Hey everybody, welcome to a live version of That Geek Show. We are back. We are having a Skype quarantine podcast for you today, live on YouTube. You can check us out, youtube.com/That Geek Show #1. And today we're going to be talking about a really fun topic. I decided, we're all in quarantine. We're all, holed up in our houses, and there's nothing really much to do but watch a lot of media. So brought up to the group, I said, what's everybody's top 5 movies that you like to watch? So your top 5 rewatchable movies that you could just pop in anytime and have a good time with. So without further ado, let me bring in everybody here. I have with me Michelle. Welcome. Katie.
Hi.
Katie's here too.
Hello, welcome.
Mr. Dan with us.
How's it going?
Good. And Matt, who you can't see, but he's here.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Good evening.
You're here with us in spirit and voice, but not body or face.
Spirit and voice, and I'm sorry for the latter.
All right, so let's get right to it, guys. Your top 5 rewatchable movies of all time. I have the spreadsheet here, and I guess we'll go in no particular order. I think we should get the ones that cross the lines here. There's a couple of them that Matt, you had one, and Katie, you had one that are on my list as well. So I guess we'll start talking about those first. So for me and Matt, we have both on ours. We have The Dark Knight.
Yes.
Now, Matt, why is this
Yeah.
why is this one of the movies that you love to rewatch over and over?
It's usually always kind of between that and Batman Begins, because I really just love the whole Christopher Nolan Batman universe. And with The Dark Knight, you kind of have this almost Michael Mann style like Batman story that's really, I don't know, I love it. It's kind of one of those that I can never get tired of. And I love Heath Ledger's Joker. I know a lot of people like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, but that one's really kind of the best for me.
Yeah, no, same. I think it's one of those movies that, for me anyway, I can put on again and again, because it's a story it's a movie you can watch, and it has like 3 separate stories in it going at once, and it all coherently blends. So it's like every 30 minutes you get like a new wrinkle, in this kind of this saga that's happening in front of you. And I think a good movie, like the rewatchable movies, are ones that you can watch and have something fresh and new happen. I've still watched this movie, and I still see things and pick things out that every time is a new thing. It's like, oh, I didn't see that last time. Oh shit, that makes sense now. Like it's one of those kind of movies, I think, for me.
Yeah.
Guys, did you have any thoughts on this, or is this not one of those movies you like?
The Dark Knight was almost on my list. I'll be honest. When I was going through, and now when I say go through, I spent like 5 minutes thinking of everything. I thought about that one, and I agree. But for me, I just still had 5 others that I've watched way more than I've watched that one. And
Fair.
Yeah, I definitely agree though. Like, that is a great rewatchable movie. I never get enough of watching Heath Ledger's performance the entire time, because it's so, I don't know, he's just so convincing. Like, all right, you know what? I'm on to your anarchy business, and we could use a little bit of that in 2020.
Charismatic villain. Yeah.
No, we don't need any more of anything in 2020. We need less of everything.
No, 2020 just needs to be a full reset. So we might as well go big now. It's already happening. We're snowballing, and then we'll snow melt.
No, I
So
feel
then
it.
2021 will just be 2020 Part 2, pretty much. Just a redo.
Kind of like they didn't want to have a part 2, but they decided they needed to have a part 2, like some other movies called Marvel.
Yeah. Dark Knight for me definitely in my top 5. All right, so let's go into the next one that bleeds over. Katie, you and I both have The Princess Bride, which is one of my. Which is actually
I was wondering.
It's clearly my. I mean, for anybody that knows me, it's my favorite movie of all
really,
time. So
really good one to rewatch. Like it has like a little bit of everything, and it's like family friendly. And even if you watch it later, like you get more of the jokes, and you can watch it like when you're a kid or whatever. Like it's still fun. It's really good and well written, and the characters are so great. Poor Andre the Giant, rest in peace.
Yeah, for anybody that will listen to me bark at them about it, I'll go on and on about this movie just because, like, of everything you said, it's got the heart heroics and humor. It's like those 3 staples that make any kind of movie or any show for that matter a nice rewatch, in my opinion. This movie hooked me when I was a kid, and it stayed with me ever since. And it's perfect for literally a day when you literally don't know what you want genre of movie you want to watch, so you just pop this thing in and it'll give you everything. Like that's why I think that's one of the reasons.
And somehow
I'm drawn
you
to
always forget how good it is, and you're like, wow, like this is so good.
Yeah.
Even though you know it's like good, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
It makes you feel.
And even for its the shortcomings that it has, it was made in the 80s with a really low budget, unfortunately. So some of the sets are not that good.
It's so good. I feel its charm, like the what is that? What is the rat called?
The ROSS.
Yes,
Rodents of
thank
unusual
you.
size.
Thank you. Yes, amazing.
Yeah. And
I
just
left that off my
And
list because I knew
Eric, don't you
Eric would
disparage
use it.
those sets? Those are way better than anything like George Lucas did in the Star Wars prequels.
oh yeah, practical design is always
What?
going to beat out CGI in
Oh.
my opinion. Yeah, there's so many. I mean, this is one of the movies. It's a quotable movie. You can pull so many things. Inconceivable, I think, made its comeback with this movie. That word probably hadn't been seen in a millennium.
Yeah.
So,
Hello.
Yeah.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
Yeah. It's one of the best lines in cinematic history.
Oh yeah.
All the cameos.
I think we interrupted you, Michelle. What were you saying?
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I just said, like, I left mine off because I absolutely knew Eric would have it on his list.
Nah. Yeah, no, this was one that I even grew up with too. Like I watched it sick days from school, and great movie. Totally on board with Katie and Eric on this one.
It's one of those ones that people probably young and not there's probably people that don't even know what a VHS tape is, but it's one of those ones that I would wear the VHS, the tape would get you'd have to use the tracking thing because it would get so worn down because I'd watch it so much.
Oh yeah.
So.
And dude, I gotta say, one of the best little callbacks recent memory has been Once Upon a Deadpool, where they went back and they just paid homage to that throughout the whole
brought
movie.
in Fred Savage.
It was great.
Yeah.
Yes, I loved it.
I'm just a big fan of Carrie Hughes.
Elvis.
I love him in that movie, and I love
Same.
him. Yeah, and then in Psych when he
Yes! Oh my god,
reappears
Dan!
multiple times as Despero,
Yes!
he
Yes,
absolutely
bro.
makes that movie for me. He makes like everything. Like he's the most charming person I've ever seen on screen, whether it's a movie or television. Every time he appears on screen, I am just attracted to listening to what he has to say, and I'm just enthralled with his whole being. Like other actors, like, oh yeah, they're a good actor, yeah, they're a great actor, but like when he pops up on the screen, I'm just like, yes.
Even when he's a
That's
villain.
so cute.
Yeah. Okay, I'm digging the Psych shout out, Dan.
Yes. Oh god. I mean, Psych 2 the movies got their trailer out, so I'm like hyped about that now. So I'm
I
glad that we
saw
brought
that.
up Princess Bride because Carrot Hughes.
Fantastic man. Even when he's a villain, he's great.
True. Wasn't he in Stranger Things?
Yes,
Was he?
he's the mayor
Yes.
in the last
Yeah,
season.
I haven't watched the new
kind
season
of a
yet.
villain. Well, he's in
Sort
it.
of.
Okay, that's
It's
It's
fine.
not a
really-
spoiler. It's not a
It's not a
spoiler.
I don't
spoiler.
care. I don't care. I've had like over a year to watch it, right? Or is it?
It's been almost not quite.
Time is weird. I don't even.
I don't
keep
remember
track
when
of
it came
anymore.
out.
And is a
But yeah.
construct.
Anyways, Carrot Hughes, go on.
Yeah, no. So
That
I
was
just
it. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's one of the best movies of all time, and I could watch like at any time, at any space. So, all right, let's move around some of the list here. Michelle, I'm gonna start at the top of yours because I'm sure more people would have had this one if I would have expanded it to a 10. Mean Girls is on your list, Michelle.
Yes.
Ah.
I
Cla-
have watched
a
that movie
classic.
so many times. I can probably quote that whole movie from beginning to end. It's just kind of a solid movie. Like if it's on, I'll always watch it. I'll still laugh. Like it's kind of one of those movies where almost everyone in my family is okay with watching it if I put it on. Like no one's really gonna complain. And it's hilarious. How can you not? I mean, Glen Coco, like it's so quotable. Love that movie. Never get tired of it.
I mean, it's a movie that has its own date. Like it has a date
Yeah.
in the year.
October 3rd.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, people still do the whole on Wednesdays we wear pink. It's like it's great.
Yes, it's very memeable still,
It's-
even now.
Yes, it
Yeah.
really is. I still quote it, and people don't always get it. Like
Really?
that's how I know I'm getting old because some of the younger people I work with, I'm like, oh, cool, okay, cool, cool, cool,
Just
cool.
goes
That's
to
so
show
You need
that
to
dynamic.
slap
it's
some
everything.
truth over there is what
I
you need.
really do.
Just like play it somewhere, anywhere. Just like on everyone's computer.
Just subliminally convince everyone to watch it.
Matt, Dan, have you seen Mean Girls, and do you like it?
I don't think I've ever seen Mean Girls, but so
Oh.
many people have that I feel like I have seen it, and I always reference every Wednesday. I'll walk into work and I'm like, dude, no one's wearing pink, and they're like, oh, you watch Mean Girls? I'm like, no, I just know. It's just a part of
It
my.
just
being
bled
for the
into
past,
pop culture for you
yeah.
now. So you
So
Because it's like that, and then with Princess Bride out, I always say "as you wish" at work when
Oh,
someone
yes.
like asks me to do something. I am a person that is heavily influenced by what I say for movies. All right, like what if there's something that's super catchy or just like trendy from a movie? You bet your sweet ass I'm going to repeat it until you get annoyed. Like,
So when
okay.
I was in high school, I had a friend who refused to watch Mean Girls. Like, just for whatever reason, he absolutely refused. One day, we'd been on break, and he comes back and he goes, so I finally watched Mean Girls. And I was like, oh yeah? He's like, you were right, I loved it, it was hilarious. And I was like,
wow.
ha.
So there's a glowing endorsement for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. Michelle's always right, is what
Yeah,
she's
it
trying to
sounds
say.
like a conversation that trying to have with a friend of mine over Goodfellas. He refuses to watch Goodfellas, and I'm trying to get
That's
him to
weird.
do it.
what?
That's such a good movie.
Yeah, that's odd.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
All right,
I grew up watching mob
Matt,
movies.
let's go on to your list here. You have at the top of yours Mad
Okay.
Max Fury Road.
yes, yes, I do.
Tell us about Mad Max Fury Road and what makes it such a rewatchable movie.
Dude, that movie is like, I don't know. It's like the epitome of just balls to the wall, non-stop action, where the story's told through the action. There's not a whole lot of dialogue. They didn't really even have a script per se when they were filming the movie. They did a lot of storyboarding and they kind of came up with dialogue, but I mean, I don't know. Like it's kind of one of those things that I can never get tired of watching that movie just because of the cinematography,
Mm-hmm.
the practical effects for the action, and then the score. I mean, it's probably the best work that Tom Horkenborg's done. Period. Like I think that was his first score in a film. I don't think he's been able to top it since. So yeah, I mean, that's one that I'll just never get tired of watching.
This is a fun fact. This is one of the only. I don't buy DVDs very much anymore just because it's everything streaming. This is one of the movies I actually bought a Blu-ray for just because I enjoyed it so much. I just wanted to always have
Yeah.
it, ready to go if I
Yeah.
wanted to watch it.
Oh, it's so good. And then didn't they settle the lawsuit between George Miller and and Warner Brothers? I think it was. So now we're going to be getting some Mad Max sequels.
Yes, yeah. George Miller, 75-year-old George Miller, is somehow going to make another movie, but he's going to do it.
Hey, Marty Scorsese's what, 80, 85?
Is
He's
he
still doing
really?
it? He's got to be
He
up there.
doesn't look that old.
Lately, he
Uh,
kind of does.
Interesting factoid. But yeah, no, Mad Max Fury Road, great movie, and it's not even heavily dialogue driven. It's just it's great.
Oh.
It's great thematics, like you were saying. I like all of the practical stuff they did. They did use some CGI, but they did it so well that you can't tell,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Which is like,
There's a few.
Yeah.
There's a few. I mean, especially when you have the steering wheel going at the screen at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But aside from
they
that,
replaced a lot of the
there's a
background
couple
stuff. You know, the storm and all that. but
Yeah.
everything else was
Yeah.
just fantastic. Witness me.
Yeah. Dude,
Scorsese's
that's
77,
great.
by the way.
Oh, okay. So they're right up there.
Okay. But then, like, you have too, like, they even have little callbacks to the movie and different things, like in video games, like in The Witcher. You know, you go up against the Order of the Rose, I think it is, and you have guys that are going out to fight you, and they're calling out, "Witness me!" as they're like
Mhm.
charging at you and everything. I love that callback. It's just, I don't know, it's cool. So, yeah. I know a lot of people that are like diehard Mad Max fans despise that movie, but I don't know. I love it. I love that, and I love The Road Warrior. Those are my two best.
Yeah.
Beyond Thunderdome can go to hell.
I know there was a lot of people.
I
Yeah,
despise
Beyond
that one.
Thunderdome was so bad. But
What is going up with your screen right now, Eric? Holy crap! You look like the one video from
well, what's
is it
wrong with my
He-Man?
screen?
He's got like a bunch of rainbow colors going on right now.
Does anybody else?
Yeah.
see that?
Whatever
Yeah,
you're
no,
on,
No, I
Okay,
want to
so-
Snapchat this to you right now, Eric, so you can see
I
what I'm
don't
talking
see
Okay.
any rainbows.
It's coming up okay on OBS, so I mean,
I feel like
I'm glad you're
missing
getting.
out
I'm
on
glad
that.
you're getting psychedelic, Eric, on your screen.
about. No, I swear to God, I'm going down the rabbit hole right now. All right,
It's okay.
I'm sending. No,
Be
wrong
careful when
person.
you start hearing Grace Slick sing in the background. Feed your head, man.
I said that to the wrong person. She's not gonna have any idea what I just said.
There's something wrong with you right now.
Dude, I'm not
Check
kidding
your-
right now.
Check your blood sugar levels. Are you okay? Are you
I just
good?
had like 20 cookies. No, I'm
Oh
just kidding.
God.
No, I'm fine.
that might be.
It is horribly like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, that looks awesome.
You see it? You looking at it right now?
Yeah, that's funny.
So I'm not losing my mind. Tell everyone
It's
right now.
Skype,
that's
man.
watching.
It's just Skype. Yeah, he's not losing his mind.
Yeah.
It's Skype.
Okay,
Skype is
yeah,
having
it's
issues
true.
today.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Totally
Just so long as
fine.
it's not going into diabetic shock, we're all good.
Are you diabetic?
No.
Oh, okay.
Saying I'm fat, Matt?
Yeah, Matt.
No, you don't have to be You don't have to be fat to be diabetic.
That's true.
That's very true.
You don't.
All right,
Yeah.
Dan. Let's go to your list. You got on the top here. You had a lot of surprising ones to me, but I could see it. So let's talk about it. Let's first start out with Troy. You have on here.
Okay. Troy. So I have always loved ancient Greece and Rome, and so Troy was one of those movies, along with Gladiator, that I've always loved watching growing up. And Troy actually has my favorite fight scene of all time. Like I have a set top 3 favorite fight scenes of all time, and the battle between Hector and Achilles is my favorite on-screen fight I've ever seen. Like watching that moment where Brad Pitt like takes the spear, swings it around,
Bana?
and then goes around his neck, like over his shoulders,
yeah.
and like stabs it in Hector. That whole fight scene right there was what I'm all about this movie. But I love the Iliad and the Odyssey, and Troy's based off of the Iliad, and
Mhm.
that whole movie. I like grew up watching it and loving it. It's like I said, my favorite fight scene of all time. Love every single actor that's in that movie. They all do an amazing job, and yeah, that's always been up there. To be honest, it was a toss up between Troy and Gladiator for like that 5th spot, and it was really hard, but Troy won in the end.
Yeah.
Unlike in
Troy, I've seen a couple times for sure. It's long, so that's the only reason I don't think that for me personally, that'd be one of those ones I'd pop in and try to, rewatch every now and then. But I could see why you like it for sure.
Well, I think that would be that's a good reason to like have it as a rewatch
I suppose.
because it's long and it takes up time. You're like, oh, cool, killed 3 hours.
Right. Especially the director's cut. I think the director's cut is like even longer.
Oh my God, it's so good though.
Anybody else seen this movie? I know Matt, you've seen it because I think we saw it together when it was in theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good one. I never. I don't know. I mean, If it was between, honestly, for me, if it was between Troy and Gladiator, I would have chosen Gladiator. My personal taste, but Can't
I'm telling you, like right now, that was like a neck and neck race right there. But I think when
Yeah.
it came down to me, it was for that fight scene.
yeah, that's a good one though. And yeah, Brad Pitt does a great job as Achilles, and he I guess just the way that he moves as kind of like a fighter is just really impressive. Just because
You don't think that's him.
he's able to do it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. He's surprisingly athletic. He's back then. I don't know about him now though.
You know, people age. It's okay.
I know. I have to accept that with my knees every day.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I forgot Orlando Bloom was in that movie. That was
Yeah, he is.
the Orlando
Yes, he
Bloom
is.
assance when he was having
Yeah, he
he
was,
was in everything
Perseus,
back
yeah.
then. Yeah,
Yeah, he was Paris is what they call him in the movie.
Perseus.
he was the
Yeah,
he was the fuck boy in
Paris.
the movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Paris.
He was-
Perseus
He was
is
the whole
someone else.
reason that the
Yeah.
whole
he's the whole
he
reason
took
war
the-
started,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Paris,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. He steals Helen.
Diane Lane, was it? Or was it Connie Nielsen?
I don't remember, but I what's his name? Eric Bana.
hmm
He was
Oh.
Hector.
And what's his name? Angelina Jolie's
was-
father was
The guy that played
John-
Agamemnon.
yeah,
John Voight.
John Voight. Yeah, no, not John Voight. I'm sorry. So who am I thinking of? Is it John Voight?
That's
John
her
Voight's
dad.
Angelina Jolie's
It's John
dad.
Voight, yeah.
So,
So
No, it's not John Voight. It's the dude that was in X-Men X2.
John Voight is her dad.
yeah,
Yeah, I know,
That's her
but
dad.
not the guy in Troy.
Brian. Shit, Brian something. I can't
Yeah,
remember his
it's
last name.
but yeah. So it's the guy that played Stryker in X2.
Mhm.
And he was a great a foil. He was so animated in that movie. I remember that.
Yeah, he was a good Agamemnon.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Katie, let's go to one of yours. You have, I think, this one almost made my list. I'm sure it almost made Matt's list too. You have The Matrix.
Yes.
Oh.
I don't know. It's just like a really good film. It was very, I feel like even now, like you just rewatch it, and it's like every time you rewatch it, you get like a little bit something new. Like I know, especially because it came out kind of when I was younger, so I didn't really like get some of the like deeper aspects of it. And then I rewatched it, and I was like, wow, this is like deep. And then you rewatch it again, you just get a little bit more. And just like the whole diving in with the AIs and like how in alternate realities, and even now we're still like seeing that in a lot of shows, and this is just something that was really like a game changer, I guess. I mean, you know, you go back and it's like not the best, like with the whole, we've come a long way in the movie cinematography and stuff, but there's still a lot of stuff that's really good.
I
Yeah.
would still say it holds up today pretty well. Pretty
Yeah.
damn well. Like, don't
And
you
the
be disparaging
stunts,
that
the
movie.
stunts were amazing still.
Well, we got a
Trinity.
whole new genre of they created that that effect with the cameras with the what did they call that? They coined it the bullet
Bullet
time.
time.
Yeah.
The slow-mo stuff, or
Yeah,
the
yeah. Well, the one where it does the rotation around when it's like frozen, they call that bullet
Oh,
time.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
such an influential movie for
It
just
was-
like everyone.
It was so revolutionary that they actually, I think,
That's the word, yes.
yeah, the NFL. I can't remember if it was an A and B type situation, but because of that movie, you know, the NFL started implementing that kind of camera system, and so it's used like worldwide now. That became like the first
Oh,
thing to do
I've
it.
noticed that like the past couple of years they've
Yeah.
been way better with it,
Yeah.
and you're like, I would watch them like, what?
hmm
Is he the one?
Yeah.
Prophecy's been fulfilled.
Gronkowski's the one?
always.
Mr.
Yeah, no.
Anders.
Yeah, that was so. There was one day where I watched that movie probably about 3 or 4 times in a row in a single day.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's very, you could even watch it twice in the same day. I don't know. I have to go rewatch it. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I just remember.
yeah.
It's so
Yeah, no,
sad
that
that the
movie
sequels had to come
great.
out.
Yeah.
Well,
I was
gonna
gonna say, yeah, I was gonna
Hey.
say the original is what, like, the
Yeah,
first movie.
Yeah, the first one
Yeah.
is the best one.
But the second one's not horrible. The second one does a pretty decent job of kind of expanding the universe and kind of setting up
Kind
stuff.
of.
The problem that really
I
happened
don't
was the
hate
third
any
one
of
and
them.
that fell flat.
Even that, I don't hate any of them. I thought that they were all pretty cool. And Keanu Reeves, you know, he'll always be right here.
Michelle, you can take a break. I'll
Oh,
mute your camera.
breathtaking for you.
BRB.
Oh, where's she going?
Restroom.
Ah,
So anyway, Matrix, yes, fantastic movie, love it. Honestly, it would probably be
Keanu
on my
Reeves
list
still
again if it was a
breathtaking
top 10.
20 years later.
Yeah, still, and they were filming Matrix 4 and they had to halt because of all the Rona. So
Yeah, I was gonna ask, cause like I thought there was something else coming out, but and then they have like a really long production, and then someone got hurt or something. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Lots happening.
so
We were actually pulling up pictures in the center. I have the YouTube right now pulled up.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's the bullet time. Would this movie have been better with Will Smith, as it's been reported for years that he almost
Stop.
got this role?
Stop.
I mean, he
you know
was
what? I
offered-
think
he was offered the
good
role.
enough.
And then turned it down, and that's why we got Keanu. So I'm just saying.
You know what? He made
wasn't
Wild
enough.
Wild West. He made his bed. Just leave it.
So here's what I'm gonna say to that. I think it would have been still a good movie had Will Smith been it, but I think we benefited more from Keanu Reeves because he definitely skyrocketed more after these movies. So we have more Keanu Reeves in our lives to it. So like, even if the movie may have been better if Will Smith is, we've overall, I think, benefited more from just having more Keanu Reeves.
Do you think he would have tried to make it like funny?
Oh yeah, he would have made a joke
Yeah.
here and there.
Oh yeah, Will
Because like I
Smith-
feel
for
like
sure.
that would have
That's
been
definitely
like,
his
well,
personality.
No, because he did do I Am Legend and like that,
but
was
not till
pretty
years
serious.
later.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
still though, like,
But
like
I feel
he
like it
showed
would
that
have
he
been
can
more
be
like
serious.
it would have been like more like iRobot than
Maybe.
if anyone saw
But here's
that.
the thing too. Here's the thing too, that like Keanu Reeves is known for really being super dedicated to whatever role
Mhm.
he's taking on, and the fact that he was doing like the kung fu and everything. I don't know if I really can see Will Smith being that dedicated to be able to sell the kung fu and the martial arts the way Keanu did, because it wasn't just about the acting chops. It was
Right.
about being able to do all that on his own. So I think-
he had a stunt double too though, but
Oh, I know he did, but then Keanu
We'll never
did a
know.
vast majority
We're
of what
gonna
he
chalk
had
this
to
up
do.
to the
This would be
Mandela
a
effect.
yeah. This would be a weird. This would be a weird
Mandela
world,
effect's
right?
a little different. I get what you're saying.
I know.
This would be a
alternate
weird
universe.
world. Yeah, alternate universe.
Yeah, that what if.
All right. Let's move
I'm
on.
back.
Michelle's back. Sort of. There
But
she
yeah,
is.
short
Welcome
answer:
back.
Will Smith, Matrix, no.
No, he had to do Wild Wild West.
Yeah, we did.
Exactly. See, Michelle knows.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
That's
it's
a good
wait,
one.
it's kind of cringy, but it.
No, you need to watch
Yeah,
it.
I
You
mean,
need to
Oh.
watch it.
I think
Alright,
that was
I'm-
like my first PG-13 movie.
Yeah. I think-
Wow.
I
I'm
think that's
getting
what
a
it
lot of
Mine too.
mixed answers here.
No, you
I'm
need to
pretty
see
sure
it.
that was my first PG-13 movie.
That's so cute that you remember that.
It's just
Mine was
process of
my
elimination.
first PG-13 movie was Van Helsing.
Oh
With,
wow, that's another good
Hugh
one.
Jackman, yeah.
wow.
like in
They actually filmed
theaters
some of that
or
in
like
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
in
I was
theaters.
Most of
I was-
it,
I was
most
like-
of that was filmed
I
in
think I was
Downing.
like
Yeah.
10 years old. I was
Yeah.
10 years old. My brother and we lied, and we were going to say we were going to watch. I think it was like Monsters Inc. or something like that. And then we get to the theater, and we're like, we actually want to see Van Helsing. And I'm 13, and I I was like 10,
Oh my
and my brother was
God.
9. And they're like, yeah, sure. I'm like, yeah, dude, I told you we look 13. And then, so we went in because I thought you had to be 13 to see the movie. And so what boggles my mind is that we're 9 and 10 years old, and they just let us in.
Yeah, that they were way too
think
lax
they-
back then.
I
This
think
was
they
Victor
cared
Bill.
more about the rated R movies than anything.
Yeah, it's the R movies that they always had like security in front of sometimes.
Yep.
I know this because I got kicked out of a theater once.
All right.
No
so-
way.
That was me.
Mhm, at the Cerritos Mall. They were like, I'm gonna have to ask you to exit out this door. Okay.
What did you do? You were just too young.
Yeah, well, it was like a double crime. We were not 17, And
Uh-huh.
2, we were sneaking into a second movie after watching our first movie.
Got it. That's where I was like, how did they even
Yeah.
know?
You movie hopped? How dare you?
I don't think
only-
I've ever movie hop. I don't remember.
Oh, I did it all the time, but I only got caught the one time.
We did it all the time too. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I still do it.
Oh
my
best
god.
afternoons. One of the best afternoons.
There's gonna be
I
a
had
knock
this
on
summer was,
Dan's door.
Watched
I know, right?
American
They're
Pie.
listening.
Well, it's not going to be a problem
Same
because we're not
thing.
going to have movie theaters out anymore. So
Yeah, and it's all Dan's fault because he didn't pay for double movies.
That's not
Blame
why.
you, Dan.
Okay, Dan. How many rainbows do you see? How many rainbows am I holding up?
Double rainbow.
All right, let's move on. Pull another one up from Michelle's list. So Michelle and Katie, you almost had one crossover. It's in the same universe
How did we almost?
because it's in the same. Well, it's
Oh, the Studio Ghibli?
it's a Studio Ghibli. So
Oh.
Michelle had Spirited Away.
I was so there's so many of them that I
So
really,
many.
really, really love.
It was either that one or I really like The Cat Returns, and that was like up there.
Okay.
Wait. So which one did you pick? Was it Howl? What's
I went with Spirited Away. I'm sorry.
Spirited
Okay. No, I was just curious.
I have happy memories with that one, and it's fantastic.
So what is the basic premise of this movie for anyone who hasn't seen it, and why do you like it so much, or why is it on your rewatchable list?
I can tell you why I like it. The premise is a little
No one gets the premise.
wrong. Yeah, I was gonna say it's I guess this girl is moving and
Because this is actually one of the ones.
It's a coming of age
a
story where
come of
this
age,
girl is
yeah.
moving to a new location. She doesn't know anyone. She's super anxious about it. She's going with her parents. They go and they stop at this cute little how your parents are like, oh, look at that, let's stop and see it. And she's like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to stop and see it. And it's like
They
this like
insist.
shrine. It's like this shrine sort of deal. So they
Yeah.
go in and it's
they
like
think
through
it's
this
an empty
tunnel.
amusement park.
Yes. Yeah. And it's super creepy. She's all freaked out, and the mom and dad are all like, oh my god, look how amazing this is. You never see this. And she's like, bro, we gotta get out of here. And, long story short, something happens to them, and she gets trapped there, and they have to sort
in
of.
the spirit
in
world,
the spirit,
sort of.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, this is one of the Studio
It
Ghibli ones I
sounds
haven't
weird,
seen,
but
but I
it's
know it's
so
because
good.
it's the guy. It's the
Wait,
one with
wait,
the
wait.
no face,
Whoa.
right? The
You
no
haven't
face.
seen Spirited Away?
No, I haven't seen Spirited Away.
Here's
Eric,
the deal,
what
Eric.
fuck?
Dear
I'll
Eric,
send
here's the
it
deal,
to
Eric.
you.
I've watched that movie at least 15 times, and every
Nice.
time I've gone through that movie, I have stared at it, and at the end go, I don't know what the fuck I just watched. Like,
But it's so
Okay.
beautiful. Wait,
I
Katie,
enjoyed it
which
the whole
one
way
did
through.
you have?
We were gonna
Kiki.
get
You had Kiki, didn't you?
So yeah, I was gonna say
love
Katie's
it.
got
I was
Kiki's the level
debating
service.
between Castle in the Sky or Kiki.
Kiki is. Oh, I love Kiki. I almost named my
It
cat.
gives me goosebumps even still. I don't know. It's just
That's one of my
cute.
favorite Studio Ghibli
It's
films for
so
sure.
good. It's honestly, I almost put that on there, but it's like my sister's absolute favorite movie of all time. So I was like,
That one and Totoro are the two I love out of the whole.
Totoro's good.
I
I'm
like
just impressed that Dan
Totoro.
watched a movie 15 times for it to be confused every time.
Dude,
It's been that good.
I'm not surprised knowing what I know today. So
I've
we're good.
watched the Pokemon movie like over 50 times and stop it every time after I get to cry a little bit when Ash gets turned to stone.
I was
and
gonna
then when
say,
he's
wait,
fine,
which one?
yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah,
Did you
they-
see the redo of it where they redid
Oh,
it
yeah.
in like
I finally saw that,
weird
Katie.
3D.
Yeah.
I like
they kind of changed it,
I liked it
a little bit.
It's on
it was
Netflix right
like
now.
It was almost exact scene for scene. Just looks.
except for the beginning, the intro
Yeah.
where he's like, "Who am I?" And I'm like, "Who cares? Like, blow shit up." Like,
No, he does that in the original movie too.
does he? I don't
Yeah.
remember
That whole intro, everything about it is in the original movie. It's exact
I just
scene for
don't
scene.
remember him being so. Who am I? What do you mean? Who are you? Like, just start throwing shit. Like,
Yeah, no,
Throw the
but yeah,
Pokeball.
I
Katie
watched
has
that
no
movie so many
patience.
times just to cry, and then like as soon as I get my cry out, I don't even finish the movie. I'm like, I know what happens. I'm done. Like,
that is the end of the movie where you cry. When do you cry? At the
When he first-
beginning,
no,
where
when
they
he
dive
first,
into
when he,
the water.
when he first gets turned to stone, not like after he gets resurrected or whatever. Like when he first gets turned to stone,
okay.
and it's like
So
I
you
get my
don't
cry
even you don't even cry with the Pokemon? Like that's sort of
No,
how
no, I
you're
do.
supposed.
I-
You're supposed to cry with them
saying,
and then
like,
revive him.
out. Dude, that's what I'm saying. Then like as soon as he revives, I'm like, all right, I'm done.
Okay, yeah, because your
You
tears.
just had to
yeah,
get
they-
that. Had to get that moment of
the
catharsis. in, and then you're
catharsis,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a definition catharsis.
I love that. If I would remember that, I probably would have done that
It's a-
movie
it's a
because I
feeling
had
of-
it.
I found it already. Don't worry, Matt. You don't. I can
It's a
Cathartic.
feeling of
Oh, no.
closure and completeness. And
Release.
yeah, basically.
Maybe not release. That sounds weird.
No, it says that.
So
it says
going-
Depends on
process
how you're
of
losing.
releasing.
So
Say it slow.
Closure.
So going back to the to the movies,
Catharsis.
Katie, go ahead and tell us about Kiki's Delivery Service and why it made your top 5 for a rewatchable movie.
So Kiki's Delivery Service. Well, all of the Studio Ghibli's are amazing and rewatchable in their own way. So we're just gonna go with that. And Kiki Delivery Service is about this young witch who is going off on their. They have this tradition where they go off on their own at 13, I think, or 14,
Yep.
and they go to their own little town and they find their like little niche thing that they do. Like her mom was like a potion sort of master, and she meets someone on her way to the new city where she's like a fortune teller. And Kiki's Delivery Service, her little thing is she can fly. So she starts her own little delivery service, and it's a super cute little town where everyone's super nice. Well, the people that, she stays with, some of them are like, it's like a big city, so some of them like just don't even care. And it's just very super cute.
It's very
I don't
picturesque.
really know how, it just makes you feel.
It makes
just
me
like-
hungry.
Does it work?
It makes me hungry.
She does work in a work/deliver like bread goods
Yeah.
and stuff. So like I could see that the bakery stuff and some of the saying like Osono is she's so freaking cute and mommy. She's all pregnant and she's like amazing.
It does have some great art style. I know what Michelle's saying, like those bread shots where it's like the steam rising up and you're like
Yeah. And just the flying scenes and just I don't know, everything about it was the storytelling. Even though not like a lot happens, it just doesn't matter because you're just so invested. You just get invested.
You always feel good when you watch that movie.
Yes, and like at the big like endish, I got like goosebumps. Probably what I'm talking about when she goes to fly for her last time. But so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Dan, going back to you, you have another. I got another one in here. We're gonna do your. Dan actually listed his as in with numbers, so I'm just starting at the top and working my way down to one
Yeah.
of his.
Yeah.
So-
Numbered,
Five
okay.
to 1. Yeah, I numbered mine.
Yeah.
I immediately thought like, all right, this.
All right, so you number 4, you got law-abiding citizen.
Yes. For so many reasons.
Tell
The
us.
number one reason is Gerard Butler is my favorite actor of all time.
Really?
I ragged on about Carrie Hughes, but I just love Gerard Butler mainly because of how he talks, and he's had several roles where he does a good job of being very serious, but then he has movies like The Bounty Hunter where he's just comical and it feels way more natural than you think it would coming from Gerard Butler. Like you see him
Is
in
that-
300.
That's
and
the
he's
one
this
with
bad-
what's her name, right?
Love him in 300. So
yeah, the
freaking
one with Jennifer
cool in
Aniston.
And Jennifer
300.
Aniston, yeah.
Yeah, and I love him. I love him in like everything he is. I watched, I think, just about everything he's been in, but Law Abiding Citizen in particular was my favorite. So for those that haven't seen it, it's about a man who was in the military for special reconnaissance and intelligence, and he's basically the one that came up with all these strategies for the military of how to do things very covertly. And he's at home, and his house gets broken into, and his wife gets raped and killed, and they go by 2 guys, and they go to convict one of them. One of them gets convicted, the other one gets free, and Gerard Butler's character is like so pissed and bent on revenge the entire time. He spends like 5 years playing it out, and then the movie takes place 5 years later, where he's now
Yeah.
putting that plan into effect. And it's based off this whole concept that like every step that the main characters that aren't him, like the lawyers trying to convict him of murdering,
Yeah.
the other guy is all the steps that they're taking are steps that he's making them take. I love that whole idea of, all right, I have a plan to beat this guy, and you're
Being
going
one
through
step
this
ahead.
whole yeah, and it's not even one step ahead. He's straight up controlling their steps. Like there's a point where in particular he like completely messes with him, and they try to get a confession from him, and he says, yeah, I wanted to kill him. He's like, yeah, I think the guy's a jerk. Yeah, he should have been whatever. And they're like, well, that's all we need. And then he says to them like, you didn't get anything from me. You just got from me saying like, I wish he was dead. Yeah, I've thought about killing him, but I've never, confessed that I actually did it.
Right.
And so Jamie Foxx is in the movie as well, and Jamie Foxx does a great job of being like this counter lawyer that he's the one that couldn't get the guy convicted in the first place, and now he's the one trying to convict Gerard Butler. So he's kind of got this like torn, like he feels so bad that he couldn't help him before, but now he's the bad guy, and he's like, I've got to stop you because you're the bad guy in this now, even though I get where you're doing it, you're taking this like out of control. And it's just Gerard Butler basically taking a shot at the lawyer, at the guy that killed him, and then the whole judicial system, because he feels it's so flawed. It's so easy to get out of any crime just by sweet talking your way through and making up a few lies. And that whole movie, I've watched that countless times.
It's a great movie if you're in a mood for like revenge. Like you want to see somebody like take their revenge on like the system. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
If you're in that kind of mood, for sure. That one, and Count of Monte Cristo are my two favorite like revenge stories. Like they're really good revenge movies.
Yeah, so highly recommend it. I kind of want to watch it tonight now.
It is a good one for sure. All right, let's go back to Matt's list. Matt, you have on here, you got some all-timers on here, right? So you got Aliens, obviously the second one, the one with the S, Aliens. So talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's Sigourney Weaver, Bill Paxton, Michael Biehn, Paul Reiser, Jeanette Goldsmith. Shit, what was her name? Vasquez.
Right.
Vasquez, dude, it's I mean, it's awesome. It was a sequel to like this really kind of low sort of budget, claustrophobic, just horror, and they turned it into it being just this action horror, just edgier. It was awesome. Like, I don't know, I can never get tired of watching that. I can never get tired of watching Alien, but Aliens, I think, just for the sheer just fun and just action, I just enjoy that one a lot.
It's funny how, you talked about it a little bit, but it's funny how a franchise did that, where they went from a complete horror movie in the first one to this is the action one, The first one was a claustrophobic horror film. This one's the
Terminator
action.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has a way of taking IP and spicing it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was great.
Yeah, but it was the perfect way to go with that one too. I mean, you do a sequel to Alien, you don't really want to do the same thing over and over. You don't want to kind of keep rehashing the same steps. So you open up the world a bit more. You kind of change the genre a bit, and you make it more exciting. And it's still scary. I mean, when I was a kid, I saw Aliens before I saw Alien.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
And yeah, so I mean, I saw it when I was in like third grade, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, nightmares for that. Woo. But
Now it's your favorite.
It absolutely is, and just the alien queen too. I mean, that's just the design for that character, just the ending kind of showdown between her and Ripley.
Get away
is just
from her,
classic.
you bitch! It's like one of the.
So good.
Yeah.
Sigourney
yeah.
Weaver. Oh my gosh, she's good.
And the kind of the funny thing too with her is like she is so anti-gun, and she's just like. She did the whole things, and when she was done with those scenes, she's like, "Get that away from me! I don't want it."
No way! I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's very anti-gun.
Wow.
Like they were talking to her about it at one point in the interview, and she, if I remember right, she was saying it's like she didn't like the feeling of power that it gave her. She did not like.
This was at Michelle. I think you
She
were there
did
with me.
look
We were
very
at this
powerful,
panel.
so-
We were at the Aliens 30th anniversary panel at Comic Con, Michelle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this was the year that they also did the Star Trek one.
Yeah. We had to sit through it to get to the Marvel one, remember? And it was
Yeah,
awesome. I was
mean,
like, oh, this is cool. This is
I enjoyed
unexpected. Yeah, I know.
It was fun.
But it
I
was.
mean, we had to sit through it. It
Well,
was fun.
we had to sit through a lot, but that was one of the more enjoyable ones you had to sit through.
Yes. Sorry, I always just remember Scott Bakula from that day.
And
'Cause, I love Scott Bakula.
the girl was there too, all grown up. So it was like, well, this is weird.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember. That was like 4 years ago now.
Carrie Henn.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. She's actually if I remember, Michelle, didn't she say she's an elementary teacher now? The girl.
I think so.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, she got out of acting
Watch
after
out,
that.
students. They always come out at night, mostly.
Mostly.
Uh,
Yeah, good one. Good one too.
but yeah, so Aliens, that's on my list of always. I had the director's cut on that one too for Blu-ray, and that's I love it.
Very nice, very nice. Let's move on here. I'll throw one of mine out there because I'm sure you guys will have
Say
commentary
no
on
to
it.
it. What?
Well, maybe. I got Back to the Future. It's on my list as
Nice.
a top rewatchable.
Which one?
The first one for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. The second one is
Another
one
one
of
I
my
had to
favorites,
forego.
but the first one is
Very,
my favorite.
very rewatchable for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was
Those are
kind of
good
like
ones.
going through these in my mind, I was just thinking like, okay, what are the ones that I could just anything I could pop on at any time and want to just sit down and watch. Like the old adage used to be like a cable, like you're just flipping through a channel and you see it and you stop and you just like watch it. You know what I mean? That's the kind of the criteria I put for my list anyway. And so this is one of those ones that yeah, at any time, anywhere, I'll just watch it. It's amazing still to this day. It hits all those 3 H's I talked about before: the heart, heroics, and What was it? Heart, heroics, and humor.
Humor.
I almost said humanity. It does have a lot of actual humanity in it too. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I just
And
love
now
this
we
movie.
know the origin of rock and roll too. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
They weren't ready for it.
Michael J. Fox went back in
No,
time.
they were not.
But your kids are gonna love it.
Yeah, just so this main thing for everything that people know about already, the iconography. We got the DeLorean out of it that still stands the test of time as one of the coolest cinema cars ever. You got all the lore behind it, where they shot it, up in the hills, and what's that mall up there? I used to work up
It's
there around that area.
The
I
Twin
did
Pike
training
Mall,
up
or-
there.
Was
Oh,
it Point
Twin
Hills
Pines.
area?
Point of Hills. It's
Twin
Point of Hills Mall.
Pines?
Yeah, it's Point of Hills
Point
Mall.
of Hills, yes,
Yeah.
the Point of Hills Mall.
Yeah. So, and people still flock to that every year around, the anniversary of it and take pictures in front of it and stuff. So it's still pretty cool. It's got
Oh,
a big
that's
cult
cute. I
following.
didn't know they did that.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We can't. It's shut down. The mall shut down.
Let's go.
Look
That
at
means no one will be there.
Ah. Cops are making notes right now. Okay, they're gonna go. No, but yeah, just love this movie for everything it brings to the table. I mean, the 80s genre is obviously one of my favorite movie genres. So many of my favorite movies come from that era. And
I know.
I think Back to the Future is the one that still stands out to me as being the most easiest for me to rewatch again and again. It was a toss-up between this and Ferris Bueller, if you want to know. That one narrowly missed my list.
That one was close. That was really close.
Yeah. So
It's just so happy.
yeah, it's just it's a feel-good movie. I love it. All right, let's go back to Michelle. Something that, speaking of a feel-good movie, not in my opinion, but Michelle loves this movie and loves to tell you that she loves it because it is kind of sad and she likes sad
It
movies.
is.
She
Shut
has
up, Eric.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I will defend that because I think it's a fantastic movie, and I get that it's kind of depressing sometimes. But I kind of like that. I don't know. You sometimes just need a reminder that life isn't always sunshine and rainbows. And I don't know, emotionally, it's a very cleansing movie almost. I don't know. I like the realism mixed in with the sci-fi aspect to some extent. I love it. If it's on, I'll watch it. I have it. I'll pop it in if I need a good cry. But it's also just aesthetically, it's very pleasing to watch as well. I love that movie. Like, I never get tired of it.
Yeah,
But
it is a
Eric
good one.
Hates it.
No, I
he
don't
doesn't
hate it. I
He
don't
doesn't
hate it.
it.
I just
But
He just doesn't understand why it's on the list.
no,
why
I just for me,
doesn't
it's a
understand
good
how I can
movie.
watch it
but-
constantly.
right? Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like Michelle's like, oh, I can watch that anytime. I'm like, really? That's
Yes.
oof.
But
That's a
I'm
tough
kind
one.
of a depressive person, so.
Wow.
Former
I feel like-
emo kid, so. there
Well, I
you
feel like
go.
everyone in quarantine's a little bit depressed, so that movie might be a good actual recommendation.
See? Thank you.
Or a terrible
It's a good
recommendation.
try and it helps.
Well,
But yes, that's one of mine. Absolutely love it. I don't know. There's something about that movie. It just has always resonated with me.
For me,
it's kind of an interesting movie that's kind of about dealing with the regret, excuse me, and not being able to kind of change your mistakes and kind of learning how to live with that. But then also, with
It's also kind of hopeful, I would argue, at the end.
well, I mean,
To some
because he forgets
extent.
everything.
Well, no, but
then
in the end,
He
they
forgets everything and he gets to try again. So
yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
it's the thing is you're not gonna get in that. You're not getting the same kind of catharsis as you would from like you're
The
kind of getting
Pokemon
that.
movie.
The Pokemon movie.
Sure, you're not getting quite that. What you're getting kind of more is like, wouldn't it be great if I could just forget and start over?
Yeah, see, that's the kind of the
That's-
message
that's
I
kinda
always
what
thought
you're
of it
left
too,
with.
and that's why it kind of
Yeah.
is just a little depressing. And it's like, ugh, I
I
don't know.
see. I always read it as more of a even no matter how hard you try, like they erased everything, and in the end, they remembered. It all came back to them. To me, it's just kind of like learning to move forward. It's almost like facing reality.
So, well, I mean, yeah, I suppose. See, and here's the whole idea of like facing reality. Like, I just wrapped up BoJack Horseman about a
Yeah,
week ago,
congrats.
and that's definitely a show about facing reality. And so
Yeah.
that both the Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and BoJack end up in very different places in terms of kind of accepting a person's place in reality and kind of the choices they made in life.
Yeah.
And that's also kind of very much a downer sort of a way, but it treats it in a very different sort of vein where it's not wishful. It's kind of more like, well, it's more realistic. It's like, this is kind of where I'm at, and I can either keep living in my recollections of the past, or like, you know what, time to move forward, as shitty as it is.
Yeah.
So
It is.
I guess
It is a good one. Like, I would rewatch it. There's still things that I like sometimes still don't get in the movie that I like to go back and try to figure out. Like, okay, where is this happening and where is this happening? Because it kind of moves, in and out of
yes.
timescapes. So
This is definitely not
realism.
a movie that you play in the background while you do something else.
yeah,
It's a thinking movie.
Yeah.
it's a thinker.
Ooh,
Boo.
just kidding. I'm gonna
Uh,
need some books next time now, so people don't think I'm stupid as fuck.
Well, we can go
I
into a
don't think
little
it's gonna
bit.
help you out, Katie.
We can go into a little bit more of a lighter one.
You're right. Why even try? You're right. Dan, you're so wise. Oh my god. Keep you around.
Trend-setting and wise.
That's so true.
That's why
Can I
I'm here.
subscribe to you?
Well, in fact,
Yeah, I mean, you got Amazon Prime, you get that free sub, yeah.
Oh, that's true. But my boyfriend, he uses my free one, so
Ah.
he steals my Twitch.
Well, it's yours, so take it back. Alright. You got friends that support
Oh
the
my
need
God.
groceries. I'm just
Oh.
it's like a whole $1.
Does it really? Even
I
the
think
free
we
one,
I think
it
we get like
still
a
does
dollar.
something?
I think we get like $1.79
We
for
get-
each sub.
It's $2.75.
Wow.
Or
Oh no,
$2.50.
it's like
$2.50.
$2.29 or something like that for a sub for a Prime
For a Prime
sub,
sub.
and then it's like
Mhm.
$1.79 for an actual like someone paid
It's
$5
so
or
weird.
something.
Yeah, it's so weird how it works. I'm like, really?
Really? You get more for the free one. That is weird.
For a tier 1, yeah. Tier 2s you get a little bit more, but it's still not
I
much.
didn't even know there were tiers. I am so out of the
Yeah.
Twitch game, you guys. I
No
should
one ever
start. I
no one
can't.
ever uses the tiers.
No, they don't.
Just get free T-shirts with every sub.
Oh God.
Oh, that way you're
That'd be nice.
making money. Wow. Why don't you just print money?
Well, there's a merch store. But anyway, going back to the list, Dan, you got number 3 on yours. A newer movie, actually, probably the newest of any of the movies that anybody has on their list.
Oh, number 3,
Number 3 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man and the
Oh.
Spider-Verse.
That is, yeah.
That's a good one.
Because we were talking about rewatchable
more
movies.
than I
Yep.
thought I would.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, and I was sitting there and I was like thinking of like movies I really liked that I could rewatch again. But then like I came to mind like, No, I have many of days where I don't know what to watch and I just need something playing on the background, and I play that movie all the time. I'm pretty sure there was a day where I just had it on a repeat the entire day, nonstop, while I was doing things, and I've done that on multiple occasions where I've had it play like 3-4 times. That movie is the best Spider-Man movie to ever come out, in my opinion. Everything about it's so wonderful. It teaches you
Best animated Spider-Man movie, yeah.
well, overall, the best.
There's a
Spider-Man
debate
right.
where it could be the best. Yeah.
I know what I said. Best animated to
Katie, hold on, damn.
go-
Katie,
go.
Katie,
Yeah.
you might have to go to just audio because your video was like going crazy on me.
Her audio was going weird on me too.
Yeah, you might want to just go
Oh,
audio,
no.
Katie, because you're falling out of sync.
Okay.
Sorry.
But everything about that movie, I think, is just so great. It's so fun. It's constantly keeping you entertained. There are funny moments about it. It teaches you that you're allowed to have like actual platonic love towards friends and each other,
Mhm.
and like they're so open about like I love you, man, or like was it Nicolas Cage's character, the Spider-Man Noir,
No, the
where
Noir,
he's
yeah.
just like he's just like this super like dark, depressing guy, but then at the end he goes, I love you, and then like it's so natural and it feels like friendship, love the entire time, and I feel so good every time I watch the movie, and it's so easy to just keep watching it over and over again. There's so many things here and there that you just want to pay attention to because it's got a lot of stuff getting thrown at you, and like, oh, this is cool, this is pretty, but then every time you rewatch it, you notice something maybe a little different, like, oh, I didn't notice that part of the animation, it looks cool, or I've rewatched that thing countless times since it's been out as well. All these movies I've watched countless times.
Yeah, it's still on
that-
Netflix, right?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's why. It's like, yeah, use that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's one of my favorite Spider-Man movies of all time for sure. It's right up there with my favorite. Like that one changed the whole game. When you look at the animation style and everything, the story, it was really good. It took me by surprise because I didn't expect it to be good at all, which I should have because it's from the guys who did the Lego movie. It's from they did all this other stuff where they've proven themselves before, but I don't know. I guess I didn't
It's true.
realize
I slept on it too. I was like, I guess I'll go see it because it was like the only thing playing at the time, and I want to go to movies, and I was like blown away. I was like, wow, this is like really good. And even if you haven't seen like a Spider-Man movie, like they still like go over and explain it to you. I don't know.
Mhm.
I like it.
Like
so
7
good.
times.
I
Yeah,
really
it's
can.
so good.
Yeah, they really drive it home. But like, even still, if you're like, what even is Spider-Man? They're like, well, so here it is, and I'm like, and then they really you come out walking out the theater knowing all the Spider-Man, even though I had no idea what Spider-Man Noir was at the time, and now I do.
And Spider
excited.
Pig.
I'm excited to have
Yeah,
more.
Spider-Pig, yeah, all the like Universal, yeah.
Things
so-
talk in your universe because this will be really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, and it shouldn't have worked. Like something like that where it brings all these weird like versions of like alternate reality versions of that were just kind of one-offs in the comics into a whole movie and makes it work. Like it shouldn't have been able to happen, but they seamlessly made it happen. It was honestly a feat of cinema in my opinion.
I remember when the movie was first announced a long time ago, and the trailer came out. I remember I remember when the trailer came out, everyone was like, "Oh, that's really cool!" And it's just like that brief moment where he like breaks the glass and jumps off the skyscraper. That quick little teaser.
Oh, the little
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the original teaser that they had released, and everyone's like, "Oh, that looks really cool." And then you heard nothing about it for months.
Mm-hmm.
And then all this other Marvel stuff's happening that when they tried to like advertise it, they're like, yeah, but like Endgame. Like,
Right,
oh,
right.
Yeah, but Far From Home. Like, cool, animated, whatever. No, like, I don't feel like people care about
Yeah.
the animated version of things that are also live action that's going on at the same time
Yeah.
anymore. So, like, if there was, say, for example, Frozen live action comes out next year, and then there's also Frozen 3 that comes out, people are going to care more about the live action than they are Frozen 3 if it's
Right.
coming out at the same time. They're like, oh, well, I want to watch the live action. I feel like that's how it would be.
I think that's got more to do with the fact that
That's kind of a wrong
the other Marvel movies had like years of build up, where this was kind of felt more like a side project.
The problem
Which, I mean,
the problem
Yeah.
was too it came out literally end of 2018, like December, and everyone in the world was waiting for that Endgame trailer, and they literally dropped the Endgame trailer like I think the week before it came out in theaters. So like that's all anybody was thinking about like the whole time, you know. So it unfortunately had a little effect from that, but it still made money if I remember right in the theater. It still did really good. So it's not like a lot of people slept on it.
Did enough to warrant sequel, yeah?
Yeah, it's getting a sequel. Well, who knows now? I mean, everything's on hold, but
eventually. Animators can work from quarantine.
It's probably not. It's a little bit different. They could do their own individual stuff, but they still have to have someone who goes over it. They have to have the storyboards, and it's like it's like a lot.
Technology is wonderful. They can figure it out.
Okay, yeah, we'll just figure it out. Yeah,
James Cameron's editing Avatar 2 from his basement right now, so you know.
No one asked him to.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
Jesus,
I was no. There's no reason to have more Avatar movies. The first one was good enough as it was, but I guess he better blow my socks up with other movies coming out.
But then money happened.
Yeah.
Then money happens.
Yeah. Disney.
I mean, the only reason I can think of to have an Avatar, like, I don't know, franchise happen is if he's literally gonna just change the face of cinema with these movies. Otherwise, why bother?
He's not going to. It's just gonna be sequels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, for me, I feel like Avatar was a movie that was far beyond its time. Like,
well, yeah, because it cost like $500 million.
Yeah, and so now we're going to be get it where I think it would be proper, and isn't one of them that's supposed to be coming out one that's based like completely underwater.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see. We'll have to see because now like I feel like it's met up with its time. Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
underwater cameras.
I just don't know if I trust Cameron anymore at this point. Is I think the thing with me because. The first one, it was so generic, the story. I mean, everybody was calling it Space Pocahontas. You know, it's like...
And it was Dances with Smurfs.
And he touted, you know, James Cameron's been touting the last 2 Terminator movies, saying, like, oh, I love them. Like, yeah, I give my seal of approval. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what's going on with you anymore.
They probably he probably does not care at all about the Terminator franchise. They probably just dumped a whole bunch of money on his doorstep for him to say that. And he just wants to deal with Avatar and diving down to the Titanic. I think that's kind of what he wants. That's it.
All right, so let's move on. Let's get one of Michelle's on here. Well, this is one of I don't know what your last one you added was, Michelle, but I'm gonna go ahead and say the one you put on here. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
Oh, I love them. Okay.
It's an older movie.
Yes, it is. Marilyn Monroe and Jane Russell, and Jane Russell is the best character in that movie. Like, she is just oh my gosh, she's beautiful. She's a badass. She does not need a man. And whereas Marilyn Monroe kind of plays like a fake ditz, and she's trying to marry this guy who's like got buttloads of money. I don't know. It's just fantastic. They're both kind of like showgirls. If you don't like musicals, you will not like this one.
Cool, thank you for telling me that now.
You don't like musicals? Come on, Dan.
Phantom of the Opera is about it.
It's not technically a musical, but it has a lot of musical numbers, so I'm going to count it as a musical. But I absolutely love it. Beautiful costumes. It's hilarious. It's honestly, I always laugh when I watch this movie. And it is kind of a feel-good movie. I guess nowadays it would be kind of considered a rom-com, but not really. I'd consider it more of just a straight comedy. But if you like that, like, those fast-talking 50s girls, you might enjoy this one, because I love it.
That's what I do every day, is I go out and try to find me one of them fast-talking 50s girls. Go to the bars and start talking to them, and if I can understand what they're saying, then that's a no. That's a swipe left. Like.
Yeah, see here, yeah.
What you gonna do? See, you're gonna go down the corner. You're gonna give me some eggs. You're gonna make them over easy. You're gonna come back. We're gonna have a dance. We're gonna have a smoke. Then we're gonna go outside.
That's a super like. All right.
Wow.
This is the movie that gave us Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, by the way. But yeah, love it.
So iconic.
It's literally like it's even if a lot of I've had film classes that will show it just because of that scene. but it's definitely worth a watch, I think. And if you like, I mean, you have your pick. You got Marilyn Monroe and Jane Russell, so at least there's beautiful women to look at.
In their prime.
Oh yeah. Jane Russell steals the show from me. She's my girl crush every day. Fantastic.
All right, let's do another one from Matt's list. Matt, you got one on here that I was actually kind of surprised about, that you picked this one and not the sequel to it. You got the original Blade Runner on here.
Yes. Yeah. Even though I do like Denis Villeneuve's sequel, Ridley Scott's originals, I don't know. Sometimes you got to just go with the original. You got to go with the OG.
So what makes it rewatchable for you, though? Because that movie to me is like, it's good and I enjoy it, but it's not like something I'd be like, all right, feeling good today, gonna throw on a little Blade Runner and sit there for 2.5 hours and like go, huh?
That's the same thing with 2049. I mean, it's just the only thing that makes 2049 different is that it's slicker and like it's got better graphics because it's updated and everything, and it's a bit more, I guess, heavy-handed in the way it's philosophical. Like it's more apparent, especially with Jared Leto, with the way his character is, and you kind of like you get the point they're hammering home because it's a little in your face with the way they wrote it. With the original, it kind of seems to be like it's a bit more ponderous, and you kind of have more of that noir feel. You know, kind of like just everything's kind of smoky. Everyone's smoking, and you kind of taking your sips of vodka.
It's the original cyberpunk. You know, that's where the whole genre came from.
But then of course, the thing that always just kind of just makes that movie is Rutger Hauer's his speech at the end, the little ad lib he does, and it's just
in the rain.
All those moments are lost like tears in rain.
So now I have to ask, Matt, which version do you consider? Do you go with the original? Do you go with the director's cut? Do you go with the super cool Ridley Scott director's cut that he worked on for 20 years to finally put out? And then changed it changed everything on it.
The final cut.
The one he says is the right version, is the one that he wants. He wants everybody to consider canon, but it's the one that's like the worst version of that movie.
The one I remember liking the best was the one that had absolutely no Harrison Ford voiceover.
Yeah, that was the original.
I think that was the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
I think it's the theatrical cut. But yeah, so I mean, but that's the thing, is like you go and you buy a Blu-ray of it. No, I don't think you can find the original theatrical cut.
You can't find the original.
It's only the final cut.
Yep.
So, yeah.
It's unfortunate.
But still, I mean, it is. But still, it's a great movie on its own as it is anyway. It's just, Dan will watch the Pokemon movie just so that he can see Ash turn to stone and cry.
Wait, who told you that?
I'll watch that movie. I will watch Blade Runner just so I can watch Rutger Hauer deliver that basically ad-libbed scene, and just be like, that was deep, bro.
Deep, bro.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, good. I mean,
have you seen the back of a dollar bill on weed? So yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so that's the originals, I think.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, one of that.
All right, let's get through some more of these here. We're coming down to everybody's last one. Michelle, did you want to ad-lib one in here since you didn't put a fifth one in for me to round out your list?
I cheated. I said pretty much any any early to mid 2000s comedy.
You want to make a definitive answer
but not
now?
Limited to, including but not limited to, White Chicks, Bring It On, Sugar and Spice, The Hot Chick. Basically, these are all terrible movies, but I don't care. I love them because sometimes you just need a laugh. Thank you, and quotable. Sometimes you just need a good laugh, man. And these will give it to you. Like, you can't, like, I will always watch, like I said, any of these movies. If they're on, I will watch them. Like, if White Chicks is on, I'm sitting on the couch. My butt is, like, parked right there. And I'm watching
you better
them have
be
a
singing
dance.
along with those girls in the car, man.
Hell yeah. Same thing with Bring It On, Sugar and Spice. Like, I'm a sucker for those movies. I realize they're not ever going to win an Academy Award, but I don't care. Because sometimes, you know, you just need some levity in your life.
I'm telling Terry Crews should have been nominated. I'm telling you.
That song haunts him. He cannot
Probably
escape.
does.
I think he said people like ask him to sing it sometimes.
Oh no.
He sang it in Lip Sync Battle.
Yeah,
Did he
didn't
really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I mean,
All
I
right.
don't know if. I don't know.
So
Pretty
it's
much
official,
any comedy that came out during that span is probably something I'll like.
That's amazing.
Well, speaking of people that cheated the list, let's round out Katie's here because she picked the original Star Wars trilogy, just the whole trilogy.
It's not cheating. I'm gonna
No,
back
that's
her up
not
on
cheating.
this one.
That is 3 movies.
Yeah, but we also said those 3 movies offset the 6 horrible ones we've got, so I'm okay with it.
I will go ahead and say 5 horrible ones.
I still will stand behind.
Which is
I'll
what,
stand
Revenge
behind.
of the Sith?
No, I'll
Yes.
stand behind Force Awakens. I don't
also
care.
like Revenge
I don't
of
care.
the Sith.
I'll stand behind Force Awakens. That was my
It's
favorite of the ones.
passable.
Are we done?
Yeah, go ahead, Katie. This is yours. Sorry,
Yeah,
we're
go
taking
ahead.
it over.
Sorry. Yeah, this is.
Go ahead, Katie.
No, it's okay. I was just, there's a lot of hate going on. I just wanted to have that clear in the air.
Yeah, no. Let's talk about the good ones.
I don't know. I think they're very watchable. They definitely changed. Yeah, right. The good ones, the original ones. I don't know. It's just super like the underdog story, and then you got the hero, and just the story itself was good, and then you had the little models, that they had, and then it was just very groundbreaking at the time. It came out in 1980,
The
1970,
first one was
something
77.
like that.
hmm
Yeah, 77, and you could still watch it now in 2020, and you could be like, yeah.
Well, especially too. Do you guys ever watch Corridor Crew on YouTube?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. They're good. They're the guys
They
that do
did a whole
the effects
video.
breakdowns. Yeah.
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 They did a whole video where they showed how they did the special effects for the original Star Wars trilogy.
Which is
and
insane
just how much
to look
work
back at now.
It's a shit ton of work that they did, and it looked amazing.
Like
Yeah,
all-
if it didn't do as well as it did, they would have went bankrupt because
Yeah.
they spent a lot of time and money, and Lucas definitely he
Yeah.
was like he believed in it. So, and
Well, the funny thing
yeah.
is that
They were over
go ahead.
budget for that first movie.
yeah,
I think the funny thing is that they caught lightning in a bottle with that first movie, and then they kind of built on that after that. Because after that was the only one Lucas actually had the most part in. The second one was it was second and third one were not even written by Lucas, and then they were directed by other people as well. So
oh really?
yeah. The
Yeah.
first
Well, and that's the thing is like Lucas never planned on it. Like if you hear him like talk now,
He'll
"Oh,
talk
I was
and say
planned on,
now,
like,
yeah.
9 movies.
yeah.
But no, originally it was always just he wanted to do one movie. It was
Yep.
Star Wars. It was his ode
It
to
was his
basically
space,
all the serials
yeah.
and the movies
Space Western
that he saw as
Yeah.
a kid. And yeah, so thank God for Irving Kershner and
Yeah, Kirshner, yeah.
well, I guess he's the only one that did Empire Strikes Back, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going back to the fact, I think what Katie was talking about, just being rewatchable to the point of like, I agree. Like I was gonna put one of them on my list
Yeah.
too, but I couldn't decide which one because they're awesome.
Yeah, so you don't decide. You just be like, because they're all like, I don't know, they
So
fit
Katie's like, you just go
together
for all of it.
nicely in a cute,
Yeah.
compact little thing, little trilogy.
And it's not
Just-
like there's anything else to do, so just watch all 3.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And you know what? And then
And-
it's just like one movie. So there you go.
I think
and
those
if anyone
movies-
has the like original like laser disc that they can burn onto DVDs for me, I'll
yeah,
pay.
good luck.
Let's forget about the special effects.
There's a rumor that
I
Disney
have
was
a
actually gonna
VHS
do
of
it.
Return of the Jedi.
Do we
somewhere.
really? Of the original
do.
cut?
Wow.
I
Wow.
really do.
My cousins had the original trilogy on
Oh,
VHS,
wow.
but man, like
I have it somewhere.
and Laserdisc, crap.
My parents have a
I had a
bootleg
couple.
version of it, the one they taped off of like ABC when they aired it back in the
TV.
day. Yeah.
Right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Don't they? I think
Dude,
they have them on Disney
years.
Plus though.
No,
but they're
not the
kinda
original.
changed
Not
a
the
little bit.
original
Yeah.
ones.
kinda. McClunky.
What do you mean?
Yeah, McClunky.
Yeah, they have the original ones on Disney Plus.
No, Katie, they don't.
No, they don't.
They have the '99 remastered versions, the one
Mhm.
that
Well,
he
yeah,
remastered.
it's the original remastered.
Yeah, the remaster with all the
Now,
terrible
we're talking
CGI.
about the ones that came out in the theater in 1977,
Right.
1980, and 1983.
And so
Okay, well, no
The
one
ones
has
where Han shot
shot
first.
first, yeah. Well, supposedly Disney was saying they might release that as a special set at some point, but they still haven't done that. So
that. Mm. Yeah, they lied.
Yeah, they lied.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we might do it just to stop the Twitter wars, but they're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
No. What's probably going to happen is they're going to wait until George Lucas dies, and then they might do it, and like for a very like small window. Because I guarantee you, when George Lucas sold the IP to them, he probably had it in his contract about this.
He
is the
might
only
have
version
because he
Star
changed it
Wars
again.
allowed.
Like he changed it for Disney
Yeah,
Plus.
I don't
It's so
doubt it.
weird.
I don't doubt it. Yeah. The
McClunky.
originals, he doesn't want to have the originals out there. He's probably threw away the negatives
So
and burned them
weird.
or something, man.
Such a weirdo.
Why?
Because he's a guy that always wants to like update his stuff to like make it
Yeah.
critic proof, but it never works. So he's a
Yeah,
weirdo.
because like
Yeah,
he did the
Stop while you're
when he did the
ahead.
1997 special editions. He said when he made them that way, he's like, "This is how I envisioned them in my head back when I originally
sure.
made them, how I had the technology to do it." It's like, well, every filmmaker has a different vision of what they want in their head, and then they kind of work with what they have. You can't go back and change it. That's cheating.
All right, Dan. Let's move on to your number 2. You have another. Your top 2 are very military centric. You have for your second one, The Hurt Locker.
So my entire list originally was going to be all military movies. I had 5 military movies picked out, and I thought, like when I looked at it, I stared at it and goes, "Oh, I picked all military movies." And so,
I mean, that's what you like.
I clearly have a genre.
Yeah.
The Hurt Locker, yes, that is with.
So this is the movie that made Renner. This is the one where he
Yeah,
had his
Jeremy
big
Renner,
moment. Yep.
And by far one of my favorite lines of like all time when he pulls out the box. And they're like, "What's this box?" And it's like, "Oh, it's a bunch of things that nearly killed me in the past." And they're all like wires to bombs that he's diffused because he's a bomb diffuser in it.
Yeah.
And then they pull out this one wire that's connected to a ring, and they're like, "Well, what about this one?" He goes, "Once again, things that have tried to kill me in the past." So it's like his ex-wife.
Yeah.
There was a period where I was going through where I was like, I felt very much like Jeremy Renner's character in The Hurt Locker, where he's just there. He keeps getting put in he gets put in new groups, and he just kind of does his own job, does his own thing, and everyone else around him like doesn't want to connect with him, and he's not trying to connect back, but it's just he's just there, he does his job,
Right.
and that's just life to him, and he doesn't like he just keeps going because every time he comes back, he's just like, I don't feel normal, I don't feel right. I feel like this is where I belong, and like I had also had I was going into the Marines, and like I said, I've had many points where I felt like his character, who's just going through this, like I'm just here, and if I stop being here and try to be somewhere else and like do something different with my life, I'm gonna feel incomplete or awkward. It's not gonna feel right to me. So like I have to keep going on repeat, like OCD almost. And the whole movie is so, it's not as action based as you think, but it gets pretty suspenseful.
No,
No, it's a very limited action movie for a military movie. It was only like I think three or four times where he has to interact with a bomb, and only 2 times does it feel very suspenseful.
Right. Tense. Very tense in those moments, though.
Yeah.
Very claustrophobic. I felt like when he was in that suit. I was like, oh, I can't. Yeah.
There's the whole movie, like it got me. Like there's if I recall, that's the one where like he keeps running into this one kid that tries to sell him DVDs, and then he finds the kid's body with bombs in it, and it's like it's sad because like for me in that moment when he sees the kid, like he wants to feel sad and be mad and upset, but he doesn't. He feels so sociopathic, and I've had those moments, like I said, in the past. So like that movie really connects with me, and I can just watch that forever because I'll be able to relate.
I was gonna say it's something that puts you in a certain mindset that you're like, I love watching this because I can relate to it. I can that's good.
Yeah.
That's it's good to have sometimes in movies for sure. They give us our release. All right, let's move on to who's left here. Oh, we got mine. Matt, we can do your last one. You have John Wick.
Yes, I do.
The first one, right?
The first one.
Okay.
Because that was honestly the best one. I kind of think The sequels just kind of started getting just bigger and more bombast, and just the second one was good, not as good as the first. The third was just there came a point where it just became too much for me, and I kind of tuned out. And especially when they got to the point where just John Wick basically became a bouncy ball, where he just couldn't be killed.
I still haven't
no matter
seen
what
the
happened. You haven't seen the third one?
No.
Sorry. But I
okay.
didn't spoil anything.
It's alright.
But
No, it's fine.
it's just basically like they basically turned him into Vin Diesel from Fast 6 or whatever it was. Where basically it's just like the franchise jumped into kind of superhero levels of acting.
But yeah, talk
but
about
the
the first one and how
man.
rewatchable it is for you.
It is, I mean, yeah, I'll just throw it on when I feel like I want to get just a good gung fu movie going, and it's
It's Gun Kata.
yeah, gun kata, gun fu. But yeah, I mean, back in the day, it used to be Equilibrium, and now it's it's this one, and
I love Equilibrium.
it is great.
Yeah, that one's a good one. I forgot about that.
That was one of those
Yeah.
movies that Kata swept under the rug because of like the Matrix era.
Mm.
Well, yeah, but yeah, that's the gun kata version of Fahrenheit 451.
Yep.
Great movie. But yeah, and just a mixture too of like Aikido and Jiu-Jitsu mixed in with all the gunplay was just awesome to see. And also the stunt choreography. Just a fun movie. Just yeah, I love it.
I think most of us can agree John Wick is one of those just feel good, throw on something, popcorn movies.
Feel good. It's
Yeah.
action packed amazingness.
Yeah,
So, like whatever.
Feel good. Feel good. His dog
No,
gets
no.
Well,
Yeah,
that's true.
I
Yeah.
just feel good in a way where he just keeps popping people
Oh,
off
yeah,
and
that's
just, like,
what I mean.
wrecking
You know what I
them. I
wanna
guess
know?
that
I
feels
wanna watch
good. I
string
don't
of movies
know.
where someone gets his
It's-
dog murdered. So let's go and watch
If you
John Wick, I
enjoy
Am
watching
Legend.
that carnage,
I just
Well,
watched I Am Legend
if
the other
that's-
night again, by the way, Dan. Good callback. But
And
sorry,
if he likes movies
stepped
with
on
dogs dying, there's always Marley and Me. So
Yeah,
Aw.
I was getting there. Yeah, no, we got a list.
yeah.
All dogs go to
So we
heaven.
know-
ah!
So we know Eric's what his true top 5 rewatchable movies are now.
What?
What? I missed that one. What are his true 5?
All the ones Dan listed, man.
Yeah, no, we got Marley and Me. We got I Am
Oh,
Legend.
oh,
we got
I get
John
it. Yeah,
Wick,
the
he's
movies
got,
where all the
Old
dogs die.
Yeller,
Yeah,
all
those
dogs
are-
go to
yeah,
heaven.
Yeah.
Yep.
Frank and Weenie probably's up there for
You just
Eric.
sneak that
I
last
like
one.
Frankenweenie.
Frankenweenie is good. I like that. All right, moving
I
on.
don't think I saw that.
So I'll give you my next one. I have one that is another great quotable movie, and I could probably, if I sat down, I could probably do the whole movie like Michelle can do the Mean Girls. I could probably do
Prove
this
it?
movie. Yeah, just quote the whole thing right straight through. It's The Big Lebowski, of course.
Yeah, you probably could.
You have definitely, you quoted that on
Yeah.
many occasion.
Give all
That rug really
Lebowski
tied
pie.
the room together.
Yeah, didn't you cosplay that like every year?
I still haven't. I want to. I should. I still haven't cosplayed it. We did see some good cosplayers though that have done that.
Yeah, I've seen a few.
I don't have the flowing mane for it.
Oh,
That's what big
okay,
stores
right.
are for, man.
Yeah, true.
Arta wigs.
Yep.
Those are expensive. Your first wig should not be an Arta wig.
Mine was the Arta was Natsu.
Oh, well, I guess good job for getting quality.
But yeah, going back to the Big Lebowski,
But
it's
you,
for me, it's one of the movies that it's just I love it just because it's kind of an absurdist comedy, and it's really just a movie that it's not supposed to be about anything. It's just this dude that gets mixed up in this like fake kidnapping murder plot, and it's just I love the Coen brothers. They do this so well in all of their kind of movies. But this by far is my favorite of theirs for sure. Just it's quotable. The actors, I mean, just look at the picture up there of those three guys, those three characters. You got the dude, the one guy who's the Jesus, who's the pedophile. It's like this should not work. It should not be a thing in the movies, but it just, like Matt said, it really ties the room together. It's like all of these pieces just kind of magically blended together in this absurdist comedy from the 90s, and I love it. I love everything in it.
Yeah, and John Goodman, dude, is just.
Oh, John Goodman is
Oh,
like the standout.
I love his character. This is
Market
what happens
Zero.
when you fuck a stranger in the
That
ass.
is one of my favorite lines of all. the kids literally like the meme.
He's just totally
He's just like
not
looking there
with
like,
a Lamborghini or something.
doing?
He's just totaling that car with a golf club.
Yeah. The guy comes out and is like, "This is what I do to your car." And it's like the dude's car. It's like, man, that's my car. You just can't win. I love it. I'm gonna watch it again tonight. Damn it, so good. All right, let's move. Let's move on. I think, I think we're almost done. Yeah, so we got 2 left. We got Dan's last one and my last one. So Dan, let's talk about yours. They're number 1 on your list, Black Hawk Down.
Oh yeah. Like I said, they were all gonna be war movies. But when it comes down to like my favorite movie of all time, that I've watched more than any of the other ones besides the Pokemon movie, is Black Hawk Down. I loved it because every other war movie you see, it's usually from like 1, 2, maybe 3 people's perspective the entire way through, and it's very like tunnel vision, following their whole path. You know, not to knock on other movies that do that, but Black Hawk Down was so. It starts off like a regular military movie, but then like once like shit hits the fan, it just starts rolling. Like you feel like you're in the same chaos that they are, because it's bouncing from characters, from scene to scene, from area to area, throughout the whole movie, and it's based on real events that have happened in Desert Storm, and so like the whole movie is just constant chaos. And like I don't have anxiety, but like, you know, every once in a while I'll watch that movie and I'll have anxiety. I know what's gonna happen. I know the movie, and I still feel anxiety because it's like I feel the stress that some of these guys are going through in the movie. Like there's moments where like they just have no idea what's going on. They get thrown in a corner. They're trying to catch their breath, and you're trying to catch your breath, and then it just swaps to the next group of people that are going through their shit, and then they're under fire, and then like there's a person trying to catch his breath, and you're like trying to catch with him. Like you feel so into the movie with how like as soon as you think you have a moment to breathe and stuff has calmed down, they swap to another group that's at the same time in a different area going through problems now. And I think they just do a great job of having such a big cast and being able to give all of them good amount of screen times. You get Ewan McGregor in there, you got Eric Bana, you have a lot of other people I don't know their names, but you guys know the names because you're a lot bigger into movies like than I am.
Yeah,
You got Orlando Bloom,
Orlando
Jim
Bloom.
Yeah, Orlando
Caviezel, you got Tom Sizemore. Yeah.
it was
You have a massive
all-star cast. Yeah,
cast, and I don't feel like there was a single moment like throughout that movie where I didn't feel like I got enough of someone. Like each person had their role, and you got a great amount for all of them. And that movie, like, it's a 2.5-hour movie, so it's gonna kill some time, but
but it doesn't.
I-
it doesn't feel long. Like it's one of those movies that.
It's going the whole time.
Exactly, yeah. It's one of those movies that, like Matt's movie, Fury Road. Like, it's a long movie, but you don't feel like you've been sitting there for 2.5 hours. You've been like, it's over already. Holy crap! Like that was a ride.
There is one point that you do get to in the movie where you're like, a lot has happened, and you're like, you get to this one point. It's the scene where it's at night, and they're like, oh yeah, it's finally nighttime, and you're like, wait a minute, it's only been a day. How long is this movie? And then you look at the movie, and you're like, an hour and a half, 2 hours in, and you're like, holy crap, the movie's almost over now. Like, it's so good. Anytime I get like a new platform, like a PlayStation or Xbox, I immediately go on like the store and buy the downloaded version and download it, so I have it. I always have Black Hawk Down. Like, we had a movie night before at a friend's, and we had a hat where we put 5 movies that we wanted to watch, and like we drove 3 of them each time. We'd watch 3 of them, and I just put Black Hawk Down 5 times every time until we drew it.
Oh, God.
So we eventually watched it.
Nice. That's a good metric for what would be your best rewatchable. I like that. Any new platform that you go, you have to get it onto that so you have it there at all times.
I
That's
have
good.
to have Black Hawk Down.
That's a good metric for what's like your favorite. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Matt, you have any thoughts? I know you loved this movie when it came out. I remember.
Yeah, no, it's been a long time since I've seen it. The main thing I do remember was like Tom Sizemore's character being that just platoon leader, I guess, just always being in the open, barking orders, and just kind of being completely unafraid of getting shot. Even though eventually, I think he does get shot in the neck at one point and keeps driving his Humvee.
Yeah, and then he answers the phone, and he's
Yeah.
like, and he look like they ask like, "Are you
Such a
all right?" And he's like
fucking
holding his
weird
neck, and he looks
scene,
over and
yeah.
he goes, "Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to come back." Like,
Yeah.
Just deadpan, like
Yeah, I need to put that in and watch it again. It's been a long time, but I do know. I was watching like one of those videos of like military veterans react to that kind of thing, and so they were actually talking about the realism of different war movies, and they were saying Black Hawk Down is probably one of the closest to the realism of just capturing the fog of war. And just
I've
kinda
seen
how
that's a
there's
GQ
total
video. Yeah, I've
confusion.
seen that one.
Yeah, it's just how it's just once shit really hits the fan and everyone's trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. That's a movie that really kind of captures probably the closest, like up and down the chain of command about just the total confusion.
and I think another thing that people don't understand is that is based on a real thing that happened during Desert
Yeah.
Storm. Like that was an actual
That was
mission that
down
was
in,
supposed to take place. It was supposed to be a
down in
simple.
Mogadishu.
It was supposed to be a simple like break in, capture, and leave, and it turned into this giant like we got 2 choppers down, we have pilots that are missing, we have to go save them, and we're like across enemy lines. We're not supposed to be technically. It like you have 5 different military forces. It's not just the army going in. You had the Army Rangers, you had the Delta Force, you had I think there was a couple of Marines that were in there. Like it's just such a good war movie.
For sure. Yeah. It's definitely in the top like 10 of war movies, I think. Maybe even top 5. I still like Saving Private Ryan. That's like probably my favorite war movie, but
That was one
Yeah,
that I
well,
thought
that-
about, but
Yeah,
to me that's not. I can't keep rewatching that because it
that's a
doesn't give
hard
me the
one to
same
rewatch,
sensation.
to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
cool. Once you get past that first half hour,
Yeah.
Oh,
that first half hour is yeah,
That's hard to watch. Normandy?
Yeah.
Jesus.
yeah.
Uh, all right. Awesome. So we'll finish it up on my final one then. I actually swapped this out because when I was thinking about it, I think this is the one that I have the most playtime on of any Marvel movies that's been out, and it's still the one that I can go to when I want to like have a feel good superhero movie and something that just makes me. I think it came out at a time when I was going through some stuff, and it came out and like just everything, like the whole feeling of it, like it connects to me in a way that like Dan was saying, it's like he was going through some stuff in his time when he was like, you know, that's why you connected to that the Hurt Locker. This was kind of like that movie for me. I can still watch at any time and feel like, yeah, I remember like the year that this came out, the exact like everything about it. And it's Guardians of the Galaxy, and I love Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not my favorite Marvel movie, but like I said, it's probably my one that I have the most watched hours on of any of them, if I'm being honest. And I just think I think it's totally rewatchable. I think it's one of the movies that, the first one, of course, not the second one. The second one's okay, but the first one is still like the best in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, you guys have all seen this. You have thoughts
Yeah.
on it as well?
Yeah, I remember kind of walking out when I first saw it in theaters, and I was just kind of like, "This is Marvel's Star Wars," basically, because it was their kind of just huge space opera that had heart and comedy, man. And so that was, yeah, it's definitely probably one of my more favorite ones from the new Marvel movies.
It's in my top 5 of Marvel movies, but it's like I said, it's the one I rewatch the most because it's an easy rewatch for me at any moment. Like you could, I pop that in and I instantly start feeling good again. Like it's just that kind of a movie.
it's just a
for
fun
me.
movie. It's just
Yeah.
a genuinely fun movie.
Definitely
Here
feel
we
good
are,
movie.
standing around like jackasses.
Yeah.
See, I was worried that when he said a feel-good movie that we were going to get a movie where a dog died, but
Now
Stop.
we just
Well, we got a
we
movie
just
where
have
a tree
streak in
died.
people's
Yeah.
limbs, that's all. Hey man, that was sad.
It
I
was
actually did
sad.
squirt a
Very
tear.
sad.
Still
Yeah.
on that moment, I still get a little teary. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think it's another one of those we talked about before, like with Star Wars, where it's just kind of a happy, perfect blend, accident kind of movie. Like it all, like it shouldn't have worked. Like I remember we all remembered probably talking about when they announced it, like Guardians of the Galaxy, they're gonna do a movie.
Yeah.
No, stop it. You're just now you. And we were all like,
I had no
we
idea.
were all like, all right, Disney, hubris. You got hubris now. Now you're just going and being like, we can just print money, and it turns out they fucking can. Like, and it worked.
Yeah.
Like, you got a guy who shouldn't have been able to pull something like that, like James Gunn, who did Slither, and he did, I think, what was that weird hero movie with Rainn Wilson?
Right.
Yeah. No, that one came out last year. That wasn't him. That was his brother. But no, I forget what it was called.
Was it Super?
Yeah,
Was it?
Super.
Or no,
Yeah,
that's not the
yeah, no,
name.
that's it. That's
Was
the
it
one.
Super?
Yeah. So
Okay.
those are the two movies where that like were on his like docket when they hired him, and I'm like, this guy, like this guy. But yeah, he made it work, man. And it's something that's a perfect blend of, like I was talking about, heart humor, humor, and all that stuff. And then that soundtrack, we can all just talk about
so
that. How
good.
it's still it's like a standalone soundtrack. You could just play at any moment.
I do.
Yeah, and
I wake up and sometimes I play the Mr. Sunshine or whatever.
yeah,
Mr. Blue Sky, that
Mr. Blue
one.
Sky. Well, that's the number 2, but yeah, for sure.
Well,
I know, they're still
soundtrack
good.
number 2 still hits.
I think yeah, for sure. All of them they do. But yeah, like just for me, it was that was my first year returning to going back to Comic-Con after I'd been away for a while. And I went by myself. Like it was that year. I think I've told Michelle. Actually, I think I've told you too,
That
Katie.
was the year you met me, so obviously it was the best year of your life, Eric.
That was not the year I met you. No.
It was the year after.
Whoa.
No, the year after, Michelle.
It was the year after. I remember.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So this was the year that I think I've told you guys this story where I had to stay in like a hostel because it was like there was no rooms and it was like the worst. But and I had to drive down there by myself and like I had no room. Like I just went because I had a ticket and my ex at the time, she didn't want to go, so I was just like, I'm just gonna go by myself because I was going through a transition point where I was like, that was almost a done thing as well, and it was like, so I don't know. I had the soundtrack on when I drove down there, and it made me feel better. I went to the panel, that kind of stuff, and then I saw it that week. It came out like a week later in the theaters, and it was a great experience, and it still sits with me to this day. I just get instant like feels when I watch that movie. I don't know, so that's why it's up there for me. And that's why I'm very defensive of everything about it because I love it. All right, I think we've hit all of the ones on our list. Do you guys want to peruse the other ones because they weren't here? We can just.
I'm kind of curious. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
kinda curious.
All right, guys. I'm sorry you weren't here.
And I'm gonna make up reasons also.
We gave you.
let's go.
We
So
gave.
Connor unfortunately isn't here because the Rogaine he tried to use on his facial hair did not work properly, so he would not look good on camera.
Aw.
Wow. No way. I believe it.
I never even got Connor's list, so we can't talk about his. He never sent it.
Ew.
So, but all right. So we're gonna go through Jeff and Gio's list and real quick and see what you guys think. So, Jeff has. I've heard of 3 movies on his list, but I've only seen 2 of them. So
Just read them all off real quick, and then we'll just pick the ones
Yeah.
worth talking about.
Okay, so Jeff has a movie called Colonia. Don't know.
All right.
Never heard of it. Number
No.
2, he's got Scary Movie, the first one.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 3, again, never heard of it. I think it's a foreign movie. It's called Along with the Gods, the Two Worlds. I don't know. Never heard of it. Number 4, he has The Raid, which I loved actually.
Okay.
Nice.
That's the one with
nice.
the hallway. Has a hallway scene or something like that, where he's like.
Yeah. Sort of. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the one that the new
no.
Judge Dredd was based off of. Basically, it's yeah.
Well, they were making the movie around the same time, so it just
Yeah.
kind of happened to be kind of very similar. But yeah.
Yeah, The Raid is fantastic. And then he has a horror
It
one,
is.
of course, on here because he's a horror guy. He has You're Next, I guess. Never saw it, but it's a horror movie. I looked it up. So yeah, Scary Movie. I think that's a good pick. That's a good one to just
That's a
pop
great
in.
pick, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people haven't seen the movie it's parodying, and that's also worth watching too. The Haunting.
Well,
Wait, was that
That's Scary
Scary
I
Movie
thought that
too?
was, no, it was Scream. Scream
Wasn't
was
it?
the first one.
Oh my god, I'm thinking
Yeah,
of Scary
Scream
Movie
was the first-
too.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
what? I thought it was Scream. Yeah, no,
You're
The
right,
Haunting's
you're
the
right.
second one.
For whatever reason, I always mix them up because I saw them in a weird order too.
Yeah.
So
And
my bad.
The Haunting is actually based off of the book The Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but The Haunting is terrible, but it's so bad it's good. So
Yeah.
it's like
All
the
right.
worst.
I guess let's move on to Geo's and we'll see. Okay, so Geo's, I almost said it was a troll list, but I mean, I guess if he loves it, he loves it. It's him. He's not
So
here.
then, hold on. I'm going to take a guess that Mother is on at least one of those spots.
No, I wish it was, then I'd be really happy. No, so
He's
he's
got Scooby-Doo 2
What
Monsters
about
Unleashed.
Midsummer?
no, not on here. No, so he has actually. This is a legit favorite movie of
Scooby-Doo 2
mine.
is
He
great,
has
actually.
he has Space Jam.
Okay.
Okay,
I love
Nice.
Space
What?
Jam. I can respect that.
Starting off- starting off good, right? But then we take a hard left and we go
Oh.
to Mac and Me.
What?
Yeah, if you don't know what Mac and Me is, just Google it and be prepared to try to rip your eyes out because
Oh,
it's
Jesus.
terrifying. It's a low budget version of E.T. basically from the 80s. Next on his list, I had to look this one up because I didn't know what it is, but it's apparently House, 1985. It's a horror movie.
Hmm.
I guess.
I just looked up Mac and Me. I know where it's a meme.
Yeah, it's the meme. Yeah, that's why I thought it was a troll list at first. I was like, are you just? So yeah, House. Apparently, it's an '80s horror movie. And then another 80s horror movie. I guess horror, put in quotes. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is number 4 on his list.
Mhm.
Wow, we're
Dan's
gonna
like-
have to have him come and
Biopic.
explain himself.
Yeah.
No.
And then finally, I liked Escape from New York better, but he's got Escape from LA on here as his last one.
Yeah, that's got to be a troll list.
Yeah, no, he's screwing with us.
I think
Yeah.
so.
I don't know. I feel like we need to give him a chance to
But then
explain.
again, yeah,
I
it is
kinda
Geo.
feel like
so
yeah.
I
can't
feel
understand
like his
Possible, but
reasoning
also-
once he gives it to us, we'll be like, okay, I can see that.
yeah, but I also kind of like have it in the back of my mind where he's like, I just like seeing people's reactions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
He
puts
does
out,
like that.
He'll just kind of like, say,
But here,
I
like,
just
and
want to
then,
see your reaction.
but then here's like the argument against that is like, Geo, we're in quarantine. You can't see them.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, but there's the comment section and he can read them.
I suppose.
True.
All right, so that was our. Oh, look at Jamal. Jamal in the YouTube chat. Oh, so nice of you, Jamal. All right. So that is it for us, guys. I hope you enjoyed the list. We'll be back next time with our top 5 TV shows to watch in the quarantine, rewatchables.
To rewatch.
Yeah.
You said.
Yes, rewatch.
I already have.
Since
I
we're
already
all...
have my number 1.
All right, I'll save it. And then after that, the week after that, we'll do video games, replayable video games of your top.
Yeah, I
5.
think I already sent
So-
mine.
For
Yeah.
video games?
Yeah, she already sent hers, I think. So
When
you-
did we talk about any of these other lists? Because I didn't get any of these messages.
No,
Oh,
we
I don't
haven't
know.
even done the list for the other ones yet. But
No, we haven't done the list yet, but I did put it in the chat.
It was in the
weeks ago.
Instagram
Yeah.
chat, yeah.
I may have muted that.
So did I.
Oh yeah, I think they 5 in the morning or something. I was like, oh
Yeah.
hell no,
I was
That's when I get off work.
legit mad.
done.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Michelle, Dan, Matt, and Katie for stopping by, talking your favorite
Absolutely.
movies with us. Appreciate it. And everybody, go and check out the podcast wherever podcasts are provided. Spotify. Jesus, it's been so long. I can't remember all the other services. Spotify, iTunes. Yeah, anywhere you can give it a podcast. It's redistributed, so you'll find it everywhere. That's it for us. We'll be back on the next one. Make sure to give us a review on any of those platforms because it helps us get higher in the list. And now we're gonna be doing them regularly again because we got nothing to do. we're just sitting in.
Not great incentive.
We're streaming and we're podcasting, man. It's awesome. So, thanks again, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Stay geeky.